Welcome to Sythis, Harvest Moon's Hand. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got... Eesh. Yeah, let's go and skip on this. Let's go and mulligan on this one. If we had a green source, we'd definitely keep on this one, but we've got 2 lands. So, yeah, we can make this work. Let's go ahead and keep on this one. We need to put 1 card on the bottom. We actually have Opalescence, so kind of like holding on to that. Let's go and put Heliod, God of the Sun, on the bottom. Let's go and click OK. And we're on the draw, so hopefully run into a land. Or a piece of ramp. If not, then we've got Sylvan Library to dig a little bit deeper into our library. But yes, welcome to Sythis, Harvest Moon's Hand. We're playing against little baby Lonis over there with Lonis's little baby clue token. So hopefully we can have some fun. So let's go ahead and lead off with the there we go. Hit the forest. Let's go and lead off with a bridge. And then anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Sythis, Harvest Moon's Hand. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Pretty simple. That's you got an Enchantress Commander, and that's an Enchantress Commander right there. So we're going to see Lonis enter the battlefield, and we'll cover Lonis in just a second. So let's go and lead off with... I guess what we'll do is we'll go and lead off with Forest right now. We actually got 2 fetch lands that we might want to end up using to kind of shuffle some stuff away with Sylvan Library. So let's go and drop in Sylvan Library and get the lands over here. That way we can keep track of those, and then anything else, kick it back over there. Playing against Lonis. Whenever another non-token creature you control enters the battlefield, investigate, which means create a clue token. Then for an activated ability, tap Sacrifice. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of their library where they sacrifice those number of clues. They get to put... a non-land permanent card, mana value X or less among them onto the battlefield, then we put on the rest of the bottom of the library in a random order. My goodness, we made it. But yeah, get some clue tokens down, sack it, and then they get to kind of Gaunty a free card onto the battlefield if it's a permanent, which is pretty fun. Pretty cool commander if you haven't played it. So let's definitely go and use Sylvan Library's ability. It's going to be Seal of Primordium, which we can't use just yet, and then Overgrowth. So let's do this. Let's go and put Seal of Primordium. Let's put that on top, and do we want Overgrowth? We can get this down right now for 2, but that'll still cut us off anything else that we want to go for. Yeah, let's go and put Overgrowth on top of our library. And I think we're actually okay with shuffling both of those away, because I'd like to get down Enchantress Presence, because we can actually cash in a card draw with Sythis whenever we do that. So let's go and get Marsh Flats down. Let's go and crack Marsh Flats and grab ourselves a Savannah. And let's go for Enchantress Presence. And then that way, pretty much from here on out, we're going to have double card draw. Once we go for Sythis, get down something like Courser of Crucifix, and get down Smothering Tide. So that'll really work out. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. Let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, and it's officially free time, but also it's we got value time. We got Teamer Sabertooth with some extra investigate. So we're gonna get some clue tokens going. So we'll see what our opponent can assemble on their side of the battlefield. So they got the crew swinging in for 2. That's gonna drop us down to 37, and then hopefully we get some good card draw going. So we will have a fresh Sylvan Library. If we need to be aggressive with it, we can. You know, we're looking at some 1/1s. There is a 4/3 out there, so we'll see what we want to do. So let's go Sylvan Library. I'm definitely going to use that ability. And that's going to be Worn Power Stone and Plain. So I think at this point, we'll put Worn Power Stone on top. And we're going to pay 4 to keep this Plains in the hand, because we just want to start making our land drops. It's going to be pretty important for us. So let's drop in Wooded Foothills. Let's go on to crack Wooded Foothills. Let's get this popped out. And at this point, since we have so many lands, we're probably just going to end up grabbing just like a basic. We'll grab a basic 4. So let's go ahead and go for Sythis. That way we can cash in some card draw from Enchantress Presence, and then when starting casting these other enchantments, we're going to get double card draw, which is a pretty good feeling. So anything else, we'll go and pass the turn. Now, we've got one of the best cards in this deck in our hand. We have Opalescence, which is going to allow us to turn all of our enchantments into creatures based on their mana value. If you've never played Enchantress before, you know, one of the cool things about Enchantress is that you get a ton of card draw going. As you can see, we're in a position to get some really good card draw going for next turn. We have Sythis on the battlefield, and then we also have Enchantress Presence on the battlefield. Sometimes you end up with, you know, maybe a lot of your ramp enchantments, maybe you end up with a lot of utility enchantments, and you're just not able to develop some sort of board state. And so thankfully with cards like Opalescence, we can just kind of slam this down. And well, we'll talk about the art here in a second. All right, so we've got a 1-2 swinging in. We can, yeah, our opponent's tapped out, so we can block on one of these because we do have a 1-2. So we'll just stop the commander damage. And I know if you're keeping score, you have that column set up for Lonis swinging in for 1 per turn, but we'll go and stop at this turn. That way we don't lose to commander damage 1 turn at a time, 20 turns from now. So, but yeah, you know, that's one of the fun things. Yeah, we'll talk about Opalescence in a second. So, all right, so we've got Wooded Bastion, and at this point, unless we just want something really bad with Sylvan Library, we're going to go ahead and skip the life gain, or the paying the life to draw a card. So, ooh, that's going to be Mana Crypt and Cathar's Crusade. Okay, so let's put Wooded Bastion back on top, because we've got the land drops, and what we'll end up doing is putting Cathar's Crusade back on top, because we can just draw back into that. So that way we've got Mana Crypt. So let's drop in Plains. Let's drop in Mana Crypt. And let's go ahead and drop in Courser of Kruphix. Well, if we want to end up using that for Opalescence next turn, yeah, let's do it like this. So let's drop in Smothering Tide. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll still give us access to, yeah, I think I still like this. So let's drop in Opalescence, because that's going to give us some extra mana for next turn, which we desperately need. So let's go and get this card draw on the stack. So we get down Smothering Tithe, and let's go and drop in Courser of Kruphix. That way we can still cash in some extra card draw. I was going to maybe hold on to Courser to set up a Cathar's Crusade, but we can always drop in Opalescence and then try to set it up for next turn, especially with us cashing in double card draw from Enchantress and being able to turn them into the creatures with Opalescence. So, all right, so we got Sunpetal Grove on top, and then nothing else that we can tap down for green, so we're simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn over there. But yeah, you know, you can get that, once you get that card draw engine going with Sythis, being able to have something that just turns all of your useless enchantments into some sort of threat, it's always a good feeling. So we've got Opalescence in here. One of the other cards that we do have in here is Starfield of Nyx, which is kind of like the same thing. In fact, I'll look it up because I think it's slightly different. I forget exactly what it does. But yeah, these are really fun ways that if you're bored with enchanters, maybe you have combo enchanters, something along those lines, simply being able to just slam down Opalescence or something like Starfield of Nyx. Yeah, so with Starfield of Nyx, and we got the crew swinging in, and this is only 5, so we're going to let this go on through. Just simply because, you know, if they've got some sort of pump effect or some sort of way to get rid of Sythis, we just don't want to be put ourselves in a spot to where we have to recast Sythis. So, all right, an opponent's just going to pass the turn, so this could be an extra counter on Midnight Clock. We've got the Mana Crypt trigger. Let's go and choose Tails on this one. Won the flip. We are 1 for 1 on those. And then with the Sylvan Library trigger, we know that we do have Forest on top. So let's go ahead and get this Sylvan Library trigger. I doubt we're going to pay live because we have so much card draw that's going to happen this turn. But if we need to kind of shuffle our library up or do something like that, we certainly can. So, and we have Razor Verge Thicket on top. So let's go ahead and... So if we end up paying 8, that's going to drop us down to 20, that'll drop us down to 16, and that'll clear the way for some other stuff. We can still go for Kenra's Transformation on Lonis. Which is pretty good. I think I kind of like doing this. So let's go and pay 4. We're going to pay 4. There we go. We got mono black life, paying life in here. I love it. All right, so let's make sure that we set this up correctly. So let's go ahead and make the land drop. That's going to be Wooded Bastion. That's going to be a life gain. And with Catherine, yeah, I think we still... So we drop in Opalescence, and they have no enchantments over there. Yeah, I think I kind of like doing this. So let's go and drop in Opalescence. Yeah, because I was trying to figure out how we wanted to sequence, either get Opalescence on the battlefield or go for Cathar's Crusade. And I like getting down Cathar's Crusade next turn because we can start to drop in some enchantments or some creatures and really get those +1 counters. So we've got Opalescence on the battlefield. Oh, look at that. Let's go and drop in Kenra's Transformation on Lonis. And I think this counts for everything out there, so we'll see what Kenra's Transformations ends up doing with Lonis, because I don't know how the layering effects on this, but this is very interesting to see, because Kenra's Transformation is going to turn it into a elk that's 3/3, and then Opalescence is going to turn it into a creature that's equal to 2/2/2. So let's see how this one plays out. Okay, so our opponent's going to go for commit on Smothering Tide. Put that on the tide. Yeah, we're okay with that because we're still going to end up getting it back. We can always recast it again for Cathar's Crusade. So let's go and get this Enchantress Presence going. Let's get that card draw. That's going to be Destiny. Then we're going to draw into that Smothering Tide. That's going to be Kidner's Transformation. And that will end up making it a 3/3, and we still get an extra card draw. We still have... If we're going to end up going for Cathar's Crusade next turn, I think we still hold on to some of our creatures. I guess we could, if we want to have mana. I like this. We'll drop in Sanctum Weaver, because that'll still give us some more Enchantress card draw, and that'll really allow us next turn to power out some pretty good stuff. So let's go and drop in Enchantress Presence. Okay, then anything else? No, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Look, this is we got a whole motley crew. The downside is our opponent does have a 3/3, and so we get a bunch of 2/2s and some 3s, so we're simply just going to hold off this turn. But once we get Cathar's Crusade going, that's going to be pretty good. So let's go and discard Horizon Canopy. Let's go ahead and get rid of Flooded Strand. Okay, there we go. So we discard down to Forest and Plains, and we've got a pretty nice assortment of creatures to drop in for next turn. So we'll see what our opponent has. Hopefully it's not something like Cyclonic Rift to send everything back, but if not, we're going to have Sanctum Weaver next turn, where we get to tap down for the number of enchantments we control. So right now we're sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to be 6. Okay, that's okay. We're going to miss out on Cathar's Crusade. That's a little bit of a bummer, but... Okay, so we've got some stuff. We've got Darksteel Mutation, and if they completely tap down on mana with Temur Sabertooth, we can actually stop them from doing anything else once we get Darksteel Mutation on the Temur Sabertooth. And then we've got Enlightened Tutor on top, so we can actually just cast that next turn, and that'll allow us to find that Cathar's Crusade. All right, so we're actually still in a pretty good spot after that Echo of Eons, where we shuffled everything away. I got worried that it was going to shuffle away a lot of the permanents on the battlefield, but thankfully it's just our hand, so we can definitely make this work. But yeah, we've got Starfield of Nyx. At the beginning of your upkeep, we can return enchantment card from our graveyard. We don't have any right now, but you know, if that was a board wipe or something like that, we could always bring that back. And then yeah, it's going to have base power toughness equal to the mana value. All right, so opponent's going to return. Let's see what they end up targeting with this this Temur Sabertooth. Okay, so they do end up sending Lonis back to the hand. The good thing is that they're tapped down on mana. So once we get Darksteel Mutation down, that'll allow us to kind of keep Temur Sabertooth at bay from them getting those extra triggers. So, all right, so it's going to be Midnight Clock. Let's go and always yield to that trigger. Let's get the Mana Crypt trigger on the stack. We're going to choose Tails on this one. Lost the flip. We are, I think, 1 for 2 on those. And then we draw into Enlightened Tutor. So do we want to go ahead and burn that? I think we want to get Cathar's Crusade down. I want to do that. All right, so let's go Enlighten and Tutor. Let's get this popped out. Let's grab ourselves... Let's grab Crusade. That's going to go on top of our library. And then we're going to have the Sylvan Library trigger. Yes, we will definitely use that ability. And we'll go ahead and put Heliod on top. And then we'll pay 4 to keep this in the hand. All right, there we go. So we got Cathar's Crusade, and we have Hall of Heliod on top. We can actually make that land drop right off the top from Courser, so that'll work out. So let's go and drop in Heliod. I'm just going to get this life gain. That way we can negate some of that Sylvan Library. And so with a Sanctum Weaver, is there any certain way we want to set this up? Let's do this. So let's go Wooded Bastion. Let's go Darksteel Mutation on Temur Sabertooth. And then let's tap down a Sanctum Weaver. We're going to add a lot of white. So let's go and drop in Cathar's Crusade. Oh, look at that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's tap down green. Let's drop in a Satyr. Actually, not Satyr. Let's drop in Dryad. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. So what's going to end up happening is that we've got Cathar's Crusade on the battlefield. We're going to start dumping all of our creatures on the battlefield to get these +1 counters going. The thing that I was trying to figure out this turn is that would we have enough to close it out in one turn? So we're going to be able to drop in Dryad. That's going to pump up some more +1 counters. At the very least, we're probably going to have it next turn with Opalescence on the battlefield, and especially once we drop in Privileged Position. So, but yeah, this is pretty much what you want to do with an Enchantress game. You know, get down some of your Enchantress card draw pieces, get down some sort of... threat. I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Opalescence, look at that art. That is some 90s art right there. I love it. It's... to get this as your win condition, man, that feels pretty good. So anyway, if you enjoyed the game, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.